Hello, everybody. We need to talk about a lawsuit that was just filed yesterday, Easter Sunday, against Shannon Sharpe. That's the podcaster from Club Shay Shay. You may recognize him. I know a lot of us saw him for the first time whenever Cat Williams did that, like exposing the whole world. 2024 is the year of truth, whatever. So, if you only found out about him through that, you should also know that he was a very, very successful, very highly decorated football player. He was a tight end in the NFL. He's like a three-time Super Bowl champion. So, I mean, he's like very talented in many ways. And then after he retired from football, he moved into sports broadcasting. He is on ESPN. He has this podcast. So, he's like very successful, very highly acclaimed, very highly loved individual. But just yesterday, literally Easter Sunday, and also happened to be 420, Tony Buzbee sued Shannon Sharpe on the behalf of Tony Buzbee's client, who is a Jane Doe. And this lawsuit and the allegations in the lawsuit are very disturbing. But I will say all allegations are just that until proven in court. So I'm going to say Shannon Sharpe should also be presumed not liable for this until or unless the evidence proves that he is in court. So the plaintiff suing is an anonymous young woman going by Jane Doe, and she's suing Shannon Sharpe for more than $50 million. The lawsuit was filed in Clark County, that's in Nevada, that's where Las Vegas is, and both of the parties live there, and it covers a timeline from early 2023 through just a few months ago. The most recent alleged incident happened in January 2025, and the lawsuit outlines allegations of a purported pattern of coercion, manipulation, disturbing behaviors, and it's really based on three separate incidents that purportedly allegedly occurred between Shannon Sharpe and this Jane Doe. So, in these three instances, she alleges allegations of violence, violent SA, things of that nature. She says that they met originally back in early 2023 at the gym in LA. They both went to the same gym. She claims that at the time she first ever laid eyes on him, she was 19 years old. But it wasn't until she was actually 20 years old that they actually officially met. And this Jane Doe, she says she was 19 when he first laid eyes on her, and that she was like 20 years old whenever they finally did meet for the first time. She says that Shannon Sharpe was allegedly watching her and peering at her from across the gym for many encounters before he finally did approach her. When he finally approached her, he was like standing really close to her, and he was like 56 years old. She's like 19, 20 years old. He's supposedly like more than 30 years older than her. And according to her, he pursued her heavily in a romantic or like physical way. He even insisted that she needed to sign an NDA before they hung out outside the gym, and she refused to sign the NDA multiple times. She claims she never signed the NDA. But this is like 2023, so eventually she did agree to see him, and that is when the two entered into what she claims is a rocky, consensual relationship, or a consensual but deeply manipulative relationship. So she says that it was a manipulative, toxic, terrible relationship, but she does say that's what it was. Like they were dating, they were supposed to be exclusive, all of that. Now, importantly, this is not the same Jane Doe. Okay. This is not the same Jane Doe that Shannon Sharpe accidentally live streamed himself having relations with recently in the past few months. Actually, this Jane Doe in this lawsuit, the Tony Buzbee client, she claims that that video coming out, that live stream of Shannon Sharpe allegedly having relations with another woman, that's how she found out that Shannon Sharpe was cheating on her. So the complaint from this Jane Doe plaintiff paints a picture of a controlling and aggressive man who allegedly demanded that this Jane Doe show up when and where and how on Shannon Sharpe's schedule. She better not even be 5 minutes late. She does detail and outline one specific instance wherein she was instructed. She goes over to his house the first time, she said. And she goes over to his house the first time. And then when she shows up there, he apparently answered the door and he did not say a word. This is what she said. Okay, I don't know if this happened or not. I'm just telling you what she said in the lawsuit. But she said he opens the door, doesn't say a word, starts walking up to the bedroom upstairs. She follows him. He goes into the bathroom, comes out in a different outfit, if you can catch my drift. And then they interact with each other in a certain way, and he rolls over and falls asleep. Then it's 4 a.m. in the morning the next morning. He wakes her up and says, "You have to leave. I have to do an interview. I have to do something. It's 4 a.m. and she got to go." But then she says he demanded that she be back that same night at 9 p.m. sharp. So that same night, she does come back, that the next night or whatever. But when she gets there, she said it was like about 9:05, and he opened the door and he was so mad. "If you want to be with the Shannon Sharpe, you better not disrespect me. You better learn obedience." And I'm just like, "Oh my God, girl, stop going back." I'm not excusing this type of behavior, but I'm just like, she continued to date him for 2 more years. Oh no, girl, I couldn't put up with that. She said he was emotionally volatile and verbally abusive. He secretly recorded their encounters, she would say. Like, it would be really obvious what he was doing, but he was trying to hide it, she said. Then she actually goes so far as to allege that he was sharing those videos, that she didn't consent to being recorded, and he was sharing them with people who he knew. She claims that one time they were in the middle of the relations, and then he forced her to keep doing the relations while he FaceTimed with his friend from high school whose name is Bucket. I don't know what that's about. And then, of course, we do know now about the infamous incident with the live stream on Instagram. So she says that when she did call him out, when she did approach him and say, like, "Stop cheating on me," or "Are you cheating on me?" or "I thought we were supposed to be whatever in a relationship," or whatever, he would freak out. He would flash out. He would crash out, she said. He would gaslight her, threaten to unalive her. It just kept escalating, she says. So here's where it becomes deeply disturbing. It was actually last year, October 6, 2024, this Jane Doe alleges that Shannon Sharpe assaulted her at her own home after following her home from the gym. She says he threatened her, forced her into S-acts, and ignored her repeated sobbing and screams of saying no. And he was saying, "You disrespected me so much, I'm gonna punish you," and stuff like that. And this is after this Jane Doe had stopped responding to his calls and texts because she was upset that he had cheated on her. So one day she's at the gym. This happened in the last 6 months or so, and he sees her and he comes up on her and he's so upset and he's so mad for her disrespecting him and ignoring him and not answering his calls. Again, this is all her allegations. I certainly don't know. I wasn't there. I already told y'all that I'm going to carry forward like none of this actually happened until it is proven in court, because that is the standard that we should use. Anybody can say anything in a lawsuit. But one thing that I do find very interesting in the era we're in the background we're in, with all these lawsuits, with all these text receipts everywhere, pictures. I mean, this is Tony Buzbee. We have a Tony Buzbee lawsuit filed very recently, last month, by Bree Stern, and she attached all kinds of text messages between her and Andrew Tate and all of that. So she does allege this Jane Doe against Shannon Sharpe. She alleges over and over that he was domineering, that he was persistent, that he was incessant, but she doesn't include any evidence in this complaint. Just something that I thought y'all should be aware of. So then she says again this year, as late as this year, January 2nd, 2025, another alleged assault occurred where she says that Shannon Sharpe came to her apartment under the guise of bringing her a gift. So he's like, "Oh, I gotta give you a present. I got a little Christmas birthday gift for you." And she's like, "Yeah, I want my gift. So come bring my gift." So he comes to the apartment, and then apparently, according to her in this lawsuit, she was then forced by Shannon Sharpe to have an encounter despite her begging him to stop and to wear, cover up and, and she says he would not do so. So the complaint references another lawsuit, which I do want to look into, that was filed back in 2023 by another person. This person's last name is Evans, Michelle Evans versus Shannon Sharpe, 2023, New York Supreme Court, New York County. It was filed January 27, 2023. And in that lawsuit, the plaintiff, Michelle Evans, against Shannon Sharpe, she says that Shannon Sharpe would say a specific phrase, a specific quote to her. And it was like, "I'm going to make it so no man wants you again. I'm going to do these acts with you, and it's going to, I guess, disfigure you so that no man wants to interact with you again in that way." Like, you know what I mean? And Jane Doe in this lawsuit that was filed yesterday on Easter 2025, she says that Shannon Sharpe used to say the same thing to her, that when he was mad, he would say, "I'm going to make it where no man is going to want you again." So what does this Jane Doe want? Well, it is a $50 million lawsuit. She's seeking compensatory and punitive damages over $50 million worth. She's demanding a jury trial, and the counts include S battery, S assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, psychological trauma, and more. Now, Shannon Sharpe, for what it's worth, has not responded publicly yet. Now, something I find very important during all of this is that it was just announced. I mean, some people were just announcing it yesterday, but it was like the last few days, right as this lawsuit was about to get filed. And even in this lawsuit, the Jane Doe does make reference to this deal. Shannon Sharpe, and it's being widely reported now, is in talks with a huge media company for a $100 million podcast deal, kind of like the one that Joe Rogan got with Spotify. I mean, what are the chances? Like, what kind of timing, is that? And like I said, it's not like an accident, I don't think, because this Jane Doe did state in the Tony Buzbee lawsuit, she says this is in the works. Watch, let me pull it up. This is at page 5, or I guess 4 of the numbers, but it's like there's a cover page. So page 5, it's right below where they put his picture. This is the lawsuit. It says Sharpe claims he made as much as $6 million from one episode of his podcast. That has to be the Cat Williams one. I don't know though. I'm just guessing. It says, and quote, is alleged to be signing a multi-million-dollar deal with the Volume Media Group. Okay, who's the Volume Media Group? I don't know. But this, in my opinion, shows that she does know that he is being courted for a huge podcast deal. So interesting timing. I just wanted to point that out. That's all I really had for this one. I just wanted to let y'all know Tony Buzbee is at it again. It's very interesting. Shannon Sharpe has actually discussed Tony Buzbee in the past. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to make a video about that. But I did just want to give you the highlights of the lawsuit, let you know what he's been sued for. Everybody is innocent and not liable until proven guilty. They got people that lie in lawsuits, but everybody who is wronged deserves justice in court. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out, hopefully in the best interest of justice. In the meantime, if facts ain't defamation, love you, mean it. Okay, bye.